Hey, welcome to Questions Just Ask. Last week, I reminded you that we also do a broadcast on the Bible. So I also remind you every Monday we do a short little devotional called a Chaplain's Moment, Doctor's Call. We call it Doctor's Call because he says the sick are to come to me. He's the good doctor. So we look at the Word so that we can take our sickness and be touched by the good doctor. So hey, join us for any one of these three broadcasts. I hope you enjoy it. Hey, and if you can, drop me a little note. Tell me how much you enjoy them, how much they mean to you. I really appreciate that. You can catch them on Facebook and you can catch them on YouTube. So what's the next one? The next question for today is, I meet so many Christians that are full of themselves and also have fears and anxiety. I thought being a Christian meant life was going to change. So what's up with all these Christians? Oh boy, great question. Again, loaded. It's a loaded question. Full of themselves, also Christians full of fear and anxiety. I guess you're implying that we're not supposed to be full of ourselves. We're supposed to be full of Christ. We're supposed to be humbled and also have fear and anxiety. Well, first I want to say this. Let's not forget that while they're Christians, believers in Jesus Christ, they're still humans. We still have certain fears and anxieties, and it happens. And also there are times that we all get prideful and full of our own ego. I'm absolutely convinced that most sin can be tied back to our ego, to our pride. We want what we want. And let's remember, we're just humans. But what I think you're talking about is people who are regularly like this. And this is what I want to say. First, you have to find out if they're really believers and followers of Jesus Christ. There's those who grow up in a Christian aura of their family and in their life, and they haven't really had Jesus in their heart. They're just playing Jesus. And so first, to make sure they're a Christian. The second is, remember, there's things called baby Christians. They're young. They haven't really grown in the faith. No matter how long they've been a Christian, maybe they haven't grown. Because one thing, as we walk with Christ, He's going to take our ego and deal with it. Not we don't deal with it. He deals with it. He deals with it by humbling us. I think in my own life, if I had to map out my Christian testimony, I would say most of my life was still, even as a Christian, functioning for John Ring, not for Jesus Christ. And when that happens, you go through humbling experiences where He takes us and he deals with our pride and arrogance. I think in the last 3 to 4 years, I've been through about 3 to 4 different humbling experiences, and it hurts. It has to hurt because it's the only way it gets rid of it. But what it makes us realize is, one, you're not as big as you thought you were. You're not as good as you thought you were. The other thing it does is it makes us realize that we're not in control. And we love control. So while there's certain times, if you're around me a lot, you might say, John, boy, you need to put yourself away. You're right. But I think more and more as I'm growing in Jesus Christ and dependent upon Him, He's nailing the ego. And when that happens, when He humbles you, you become very much more concerned about others than you. Become more concerned about what Christ wants in you instead of what you want. And it's quite an experience. The fears and anxieties, the more we give to Christ, the more they'll disappear. Fear and anxiety comes from usually that we're going to lose something that's valuable to us. And yet in 1 John chapter 5, John ends the book of 1 John by saying, little children, my dear children, my friends, flee from idols. Idols can be anything in your heart, according to Ezekiel, that takes the place of God. Elise Fitzpatrick in a book, Idols of the Heart, which I highly recommend you read it. It's a little bit academic, but it's good. It says an idol is anything that you will sin to get, but you will also sin if you don't get it. I like to look at it even another way. Jesus said in order to find your life, you got to be willing to lose it. And anything you're not willing to lose is probably going to be an idol. And those idols are the things that make us fear and have anxiety about not living in Jesus Christ. Do we really trust that he has us? Do we really trust that he will give us all that we need, or are we looking at Jesus to give us what we want? He doesn't talk about that. He does say he'll give us the desires of our heart, but that's when our desires of our heart are focused on Jesus Christ and Christ alone. But in the end of the day, let's admit, those around you that are full of themselves and full of fear and anxiety, how about you confess yours first? How about you put yours on the table first? Because we all have them. Just some are still little children growing up in the Lord Jesus Christ. So you know what we do? We give them grace. We walk with them and help them. Hey, I hope this helps you with the question. And next week, we're going to talk about a big fear called death. So join us next week as we continue to talk about these things that are very close to the heart. These are good questions. Thanks for asking them. Have a great week.